So as you know, our Portland Association of Teachers authorized a strike on February 5th and then gave notice of intent to strike effective February 20th. Both sides have continued to meet with the mediator. So we met this past week on the 10th and on the 11th. We've exchanged proposals and then have a plan to continue exchange of proposals. And I would say that both sides are working really hard to come to an agreement, get to a settlement. At the same time, the district has been working hard on plans for service continuation should in fact the teachers strike. So we are working both paths really solidly. We have currently posted up on our website, and that is at www.pps.net, frequently asked questions that are if teachers strike, here's the school information, and it's posted in all of our major languages. There will also be some community meetings that are answering questions, and as parents feed us the questions that they're asking, we're working to provide that information, and it's being updated frequently. I want to just run through, once again, the district's mediation officer and key points in that, and it's the core points. So you need to know that we're working through a lot of interests. The things that and that continues to change. The points that I'll read to you tonight are really the core items that I just want to be really clear, because people ask us questions about what is included in the district's mediation offer. And that includes the salary over 3 years of contract, which is steps, which is roughly 3.5% plus 2% per year over the 3 years of the contract. The 1.05% for 2 additional days, which would be adding 2 instructional days to the year. We are saying the 1.05% to indicate that it is additional pay for days worked, as opposed to thinking of that as a raise. It's just being clear, it's not asking people to work for days they're not being paid for. The salary increase that's referenced here would be between a 7 and 17% increase for every teacher over the life of the contract. And it's a broad range because teachers are at different steps on the salary scale, so the steps are the thing that are the variation there. Insurance. The district's proposal has insurance being kept at status quo, which means the district would maintain its current share of insurance premiums at 93%, which is approximately $1,397 per month. Professional educators would maintain their current share of 7%, which is about $117 per month. The early retirement incentive, which includes both health insurance and a monthly stipend, would be sunsetted over the life of the contract. So that's our current proposal. The change in hiring practices would go from what is currently 3 rounds of internal hiring, that would be reduced to a single round of internal hiring during spring staffing, and using the state definition of competence when making layoff and transfer decisions. The conversations about workload relief, and here you've got a more complex conversation because we're talking about staffing is really something that happens as part of a budgeting process, and it's a public budgeting process. When we're talking about the $7.8 million that was part of the legislative grand bargain, which is targeted for school staffing. So when it was designated, it was to provide school staffing, which could be teachers, it could be classified staff, it could be instructional time. And what we've said in a memo of understanding as part of our proposal is that we would dedicate all $7.8 million to professional educators as part of our budgeting process, but we're making it clear at least 88 additional teachers would be included expressly for workload reduction. That's only a piece of the budgeting process, so we're just at the front end of our budget process, and there in fact could be additional teachers that are added as part of that and additional school staff. So it's just to make a commitment that you understand here's what could be different next year in terms of workload. There's also an updating of a workload provision that's currently in the contract that references the year 97-98, which would propose to update to 2010-11 levels and to reach those levels by 2016-17. Another piece of joint work at the table has been to establish a workload committee that would both look at Immediate situations raised by individual teachers where they feel they have an unfair workload situation that needs resolution, and the ability to bring that forward. And it would be a committee that's both 5 PAT members and 5 district administrators who are able to hear those and figure out and propose solutions. Secondly, that committee would be looking at larger workload issues that could end up in recommendations for budgetary or advocacy kind of avenues to address those. So this is where I would just say the conversations about workload relief have been really productive and really joint problem solving about how do we actually address something that everybody cares about. And the mechanism for doing that is complex in terms of what belongs in a contract and what belongs in a budget. Student instructional days, the district's mediation proposal currently proposes to add 2 instructional days to the school calendar for K through 8 students and add 3 instructional days for high school students. It also allows for continuation of the 8-period high school schedule in such a manner to meet the Oregon Department of Education course hour requirements. And actually back to the $7.8 million from the grand bargain, that is intended to be spread across the entire K through 12 spectrum and also includes special education students. So there's been concern about whether it would be specifically all at high school level. Now the conversation has been across the entire system. So that's what the proposal that is currently on the table. And with that, I will again direct your attention back to the website for more questions about service continuation plans should we actually be in a strike, and know that we're really working hard to get an agreement and to avert that situation.